Three, two, one. Okay. Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
everyone. Oh, we see each other again. My name is Tina. I'm the Chief Commercialization and Communication Officer from Game Hollywood. I'm the host of the discussion again. So happy to see you all again. So in yesterday's session, we have got numerous inquiries in the Q&A section. And I thought that all the audiences from the floor are so interested a lot about how COVID-19 has different impact in gaming industry. Therefore, we will talk more on this topic again today, so to fulfill all your curiosity and also inquiry. Again, it's my honor to invite our marketing expert from Game Hollywood, Philip, to represent
Hello.
our company. Yeah, and then also he has some very harsh work with his partner, Imperial Online from the Purple Shy, and also Push Your App from Media Side to share the impact of COVID-19 in the potential prospect of the gaming industry. Okay, so without further ado, so maybe Philip, over to you. So you have something to share with us, right?
So to begin with, from the year 2019 to 2021, COVID-19 just like an impact on humanity globally, like a huge shadow, right? And of course, we gaming industry affected a lot, and it looks even more unstable in this sudden epidemic because we can see that some games saw significant growth due to the lockdown, but on the other hand, some company also just vanished due to this lockdown too. So today I'd love to introduce one of our close partner, Imperia Online. They are a publisher from Bulgaria, and they are doing quite well to do with this COVID-19. So let's see what they can share to us. Wait a second.
So you have already interviewed them in advance and
yes,
a very nice video to our audiences here.
Yep. Wait a sec. Okay. Do you see my mom?
Wow.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, I can see it clearly. I can see our mascot. Great. We can't wait anymore.
My name is Alexandra.
Wow,
I'm
nice.
Marketing and development team at Imperial Online. More about our company. We have been 16 years on the market and the office. Our flagship title is also called Imperial Online, and we have a portfolio of 28 games. In 2018, we were acquired by Stefan Group, which essentially opened many opportunities for us to endorse, for us to explore. One of them was looking more into the publishing side of the gaming industry. As we've had so many years of experience as a developer, we decided to turn the other way and see what that will be about. It all started in 2020 when we acquired a mobile title from our sister company, Synchronics. It is called Teach World War II. And since then, we've been handling the live operations of the game, which essentially resulted in being outlined as the live operations hub at Stillfront Group. Then we decided to look for more games to publish. And of course, the pandemic didn't stop us from performing so well as a company. Actually, for us, because we're based in Sofia, Bulgaria, everything started in March 2020 when Bulgaria went into lockdown and we all went in home office. Actually, some of our colleagues and our team also were still going back on a weekly basis to the office, as we didn't want to exclude that whole part as an all. And we were performing. We wanted to see each other just to have some bi-weekly meetings face-to-face, and just for a more smooth interaction between us, because let's face it, it's really difficult to not see your colleagues in such a long time. The whole process was really hard for us in the beginning, adjusting to the Zoom meetings, to the anti-socialism that went, because let's face it, seeing these people for so many years every day, sitting next to them is and going home is a completely different thing. And at the beginning, it's really hard for everyone to adjust. But our founders decided to make some changes, which not changes, but to tackle the problems of this by using weekly Zoom meetings for all of our company to join, the members of our company to join. It was held every Friday, and it lasted for about 2 hours, where everyone were discussing different types of topics and just daily funny stories, either at work or their lifestyle. And that was a really good thing for us to do, which made us feel more close to each other, especially in these times, in these hard times. After getting back, we started organizing just some mini type of team buildings after work and activities to do. Board game nights, for example, some picnics on the weekends, some hikes. And just all of these things brought all of our colleagues even more close to each other, because let's face it, not seeing these people in such a long time has made just essentially everyone feel really, really, how should I say it, just not just antisocial. And seeing people interact as if they've never been separated was a really warm and wholesome moment for all of the people at our company. Some more things we did was we went to some mini pool parties. Our, of course, lunches at work were brought back with our team members, and it was just really nice thing to see. And just the whole atmosphere at the office changed when we saw people going back and being happy to be back. Of course, unfortunately, things aren't looking very promising at the moment with the whole situation in Bulgaria.
Okay.
It's really give us a really comprehensive view on how the companies now have the COVID-19, maybe even though with social distancing measures from all different countries, we were still having a very enjoyable work environment, and we are so positive in preparing our industry.
Yeah,
Okay.
we in fact we have a similar case here in Game Hollywood too. Our colleagues, we got more boundings after work, but not like Imperia. They are playing more broad games. We're playing more online games.
I also want to join them. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about I know you have a lot of good preparation to us and also our audience. So will you share with us some more from the media side? Is it your another partner as well?
Yeah, it's Push Your App, and they own this famous gaming site called Gamezebo. And I've been working with Simon for a couple of years, and he's a nice guy, and we keep a close communication during this COVID-19. And he mentioned some changes due to the epidemic, and also I interviewed him beforehand, and there is a P-roll, and let's see what he shared to us. And also he gave us some advices to publishers and developers when pitching ideas by their own.
Seems that you're much more busier than before, even though after the pandemic situation. But it's good. That means we have a flourishing industry right now. Okay, over to you.
Hello, my name is Simon Reed. I manage the editorial side for 3 of the leading sites in the tech and mobile space. primarily GameZebo, which looks at mobile games, Switch titles, and a range of other games for handheld systems. Droid Gamers, which is one of the largest sites in the Android space, looking just at games, not you've got larger Android sites that look at tech, but in terms of gaming, Droid Gamers is the #1 destination. And finally, iFanzine, which looks specifically at iOS games and apps. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the 3 ways I think COVID has affected our sites, as well as 3 ways I recommend and methods that I recommend trying when it comes to pitching your new game to sites like ours, our sites, but also other sites similar in the space, tips and just general advice. So without further ado, let's have a look at 3 ways I think COVID have affected our sites. One of the first ways is that we've hired a lot more freelance writers. COVID has meant that people's jobs are obviously at risk, but we've found a lot of people are working from home, which will tie into a later point, but it means people's hours are more flexible, they have more hours to fill. So we've done that by allowing freelancers to write when and whenever they can to our sites. This has meant that the quality of writing has improved on our sites because we've got a greater variety of content, a greater variety of writers writing in different styles, writing for different types of title. So it's really broadened the titles we look at on the sites. Second is that we've had to take a closer look at trends in the gaming scene. Obviously, our sites always have to follow what's popular and cover that to some degree, but we found that during COVID, trends really do tend to fluctuate depending on, the type of lockdowns that countries and our key regions are experiencing. So at the start, we saw a huge popularity in social games, in games that look at real life situations and mimic them, and titles that people can really dedicate a lot of time into, because obviously they have a lot of spare time because they're either not traveling to work or there's just not that much to do in the evenings when they're locked down. But obviously that's changed as the pandemic has eased, so we've had to adjust our content according to that. And not just the titles we cover, but the type of coverage as well. So like news and breaking news is great when you've got people visiting the site day on day. But then there are also guides that you want to look at over the weekends, for example, when people are really looking to dig deep into certain titles. So yeah, we've had to really stay on what's trending in mobile and make sure that our sites are reflecting that so that they can get the most traffic, but also serve the readers the best way they can. Third is one that you might not expect, is that we've had more partnerships with sites. This obviously relates to the advertising and business side, but also the editorial side. We need to make sure that we're not copying each other's content, not copying it word for word, but just copying the titles we cover, because ultimately, if you're covering the exact same titles as all the other mobile gaming sites or gaming sites, you're not going to get a lot of results in terms of the traffic. You're not going to be serving your visitors in the best possible way. So we've had to communicate with some sites in terms of what we cover. That relates to our own sites, our own 3 sites working together, but also other sites externally as well. So that's something we've really had to deal with during COVID. And I think that's been easier to do during COVID as well, because obviously a lot of sites have teams that all work in the same office, whereas with COVID, it's pretty much everyone's all on the same boat and they're all working online. So it's a lot easier to communicate and get in touch with larger groups of people who work at other sites and outlets. The next thing is the 3 ways or the 3 tips that I would follow when it comes to pitching your game or app or product to a site. And the first one is fairly simple, is make sure that you've got all the necessary details in any email you send out. You'd be surprised at how many emails we get where it's not clear what the format of the game is. A link sometimes is missing. So I would always recommend following a structure of some key points about the game or product or whatever. Something, the key points that will really get the journalist's interest. Second is making sure that you've got some way for the reader of the email to actually play the game, whether that's a link to the game, a promo code, a test build, an APK, anything like that, just make it easy. And then third, make sure you've got relevant assets. So like a link to a YouTube trailer, that's always important because it's great to see what the product looks like in action, because that can often make or break whether a journalist covers your game. Some images, basically make it as easy as possible for the journalist to cover your game, because they're not going to, if it's just a news article that you're looking for, they're not going to go out their way to find assets, go on sites, search on Google. They might do, some writers will, but a lot, as I said, are freelance, so their time is very limited. So make sure it's easy as possible for them to cover your game, play your game, see what your game looks like in motion. Second is that when pitching, you don't follow a really rigid template. Obviously, I've given you some advice in the previous point, but make sure that you don't follow the same thing that we see a lot of emails from PR agencies. And although these can be great in terms of getting some key information, they often all look the same in terms of the format, in terms of the image, because they use a similar template, MailChimp, whereas emails that have been written have more of a personal touch and not look messy, but look a lot more like they've been some care and attention, are more likely to get a journalist's attention. So yeah, don't follow key templates that PR agencies might use, because often a lot of those time those emails are just ignored, or just don't have the real pow factor to get a journalist's attention. Third is make sure you contact the right sites and the right people. You'd be surprised at how many emails we get into the wrong email addresses on our sites. Usually a site has a clear about or contact page with the right email to use. So yeah, and whereas sometimes we get emails pitching a game to the advertising team or the business team, and obviously these emails are going to get lost in the shuffle because we get hundreds of emails coming through every day to our sites. So make sure you contact the right people. We'll find examples of our emails here. But yeah, make sure that you don't contact the wrong emails like this, because if you do email those contacts, you'll either get an email back pitching you services which you might not want, or just literally won't get a response. And finally, to wrap up, there's lots of help out there. We ourselves, our sites, we like to champion indie developers and teams where we can. So just get in touch with our sites and we'll do our best to help. If you have any questions, just literally email us. There are also loads of helpful publishers out there. One of them is Game Hollywood, who is looking to help out developers, whether that's giving them advice on how best to mold their game to fit a certain business or whatever. There's loads of different sources out there to help indie developers, so make use of them. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I wish you all the best with all your projects.
Okay. Wow, it's really wonderful insights and useful tips. Yeah, I think just right now you have shared with us so many useful tips and insight, and they are also practical. So finally, the best come to the end. I mean, the last guest. So it should be you, Philip. So yeah. So you are the marketing expert. So shall you shed us some lights regarding on how COVID-19 influenced our game players' behavior? Any new marketing insights or even though category direction from your point of view?
Okay. First, I'd love to say thank you to Simon, because he gave us 3 recommendations, which is a very good suggestion. Because what he said is what we did in the past for our standard working protocol to pitch all those medias. So I think we have formed some very close relationship with medias like Simon, and also we got some insights for this COVID-19 outbreak. First is that the lockdown makes people more likely to use more online communities. That is not only Facebook or Twitch or something like that, but also they are more likely to go to fandom wiki and also the Discord. They like to chat on Discord more often. And the second one is we have observed that players prefer to go to get to know a game much deeper than before. Like they are more likely to browse the homepage of a game to see more info about the game. Say like if it is an RPG game, they are more likely to get to know the character better, get to know the skill better, get to know all the data better. And the second one is that they are more likely to also get into knowing the developer himself. So under these insights, what we did during this COVID-19 is that first we have create fandom pages for all of our games so that the players can get to know our games better. Not only the gameplay, but also the stories and the characters from the game. And also we have start many Discord servers on Discord so that our players have a better communication with each other and
Wow.
they can find someone to team up with. And also
So they have virtual community right now.
yeah, we bring the social also from the game to Discord so that they have more boundings for their game players. And also we have create a much better website for each games so that to show more aspects of the games to our players, and it works because we can see that in the Discord chat they are likely to talk more about the characters and the content of the game, not only complaining. That's what we see. So to cover up with, yeah, that's it. The COVID-19 is an impact, but also we see more opportunity in gaming industry.
Yeah, so even though from marketing point of view, from publisher point of view, and also from media point of view, it seems that it's really echo what we have discussed yesterday. So
Yeah.
now the whole industry, people are spending more time at home, and then it actually keeps rise in terms of, you know, all the game developments. So even though for the job opportunities and also talents, we are now having more freelancer, and also we are having more flexibility in the working environment. Unlike the past, we need all the people to coming back to the office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel more enjoyable right now? I mean, having all the flexibility working at home?
You know, for me, I extended my work. You know, in the past, you just work in the office, but now you know you bring the laptop home. Yeah. but what you can see is that the players are more willing to communicate with even either publisher or the developer, and you know, when you hear them and you can forge the product better, you know, we can polish the game much better for them, and before we can't see this opportunity.
Yeah, so actually we're having some good points, and at the same time, maybe to Philip, you will be more busy, but I think busier is always better because that means you can have more business and also more job opportunities for all the game, I mean, related parties and also stakeholders as well. Yeah. So shall we have some time for the Q&A from the floor or any section?
Yeah, any question?
Yes.
Or maybe they can just type it on the chat so that we can answer in
Of course.
in the chat room. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it for the live today.
So we can wait for the Q&A, and then if you have any questions, of course, feel free to contact us. Yeah, and also stay tuned for all the other activities that are coming as well. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Tina.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
See ya.